cryptic letters taunting police. The late 1960s in California, a land of sun-drenched dreams and burgeoning counterculture, was about to be terrorized by a phantom, not a monster from a movie screen, but a very real killer who communicated through ciphers and claimed an ever-growing body count. He called himself Zodiac, and his reign of fear would grip the San Francisco Bay Area for years, leaving behind a legacy of unsolved murders and chilling enigmas. This is the story of a killer who reveled in the spotlight, a master of manipulation who turned the police and the public into players in his twisted game. It began with a seemingly random act of violence, but quickly evolved into something far more sinister, a macabre dance with a murderer who seemed to always be one step ahead. The first victims were David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, teenagers shot on December 20, 1968, on Lake Herman Road near Benicia. The isolated lover's lane offered privacy, but it also offered opportunity for a predator. While the local sheriff's office investigated, the crime felt like a tragic, albeit isolated, incident. There was no apparent motive, no witnesses, and no immediate suspects. The young couple seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Little did anyone know, this was just the opening act in a drama that would soon consume the entire region. The quiet desperation of the families, the frantic whispers in the town, the fear that gripped the youth of the area. All of this was just a prelude to the terror that Zodiac was about to unleash. 7 months later, on July 4, 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Majo were attacked in Vallejo, just a few miles away at Blue Rock Springs Park. This time, however, there was a survivor. Majo, though critically wounded, lived to tell the tale. He described the attacker as a heavyset man, but his description was vague, blurred by the trauma of the attack. Then, a phone call to the Vallejo Police Department shortly after the attack sent chills down the spines of the investigators. The caller calmly claimed responsibility for both the Blue Rock Springs shooting and the Lake Herman Road murders. It was chilling, direct, and utterly terrifying. The hunt had begun. I want to report a double murder. The anonymous caller's words echoed in the police station. A few weeks later, the Vallejo Times-Herald Asterisk, the San Francisco Chronicle Asterisk, and the San Francisco Examiner each received a letter containing nearly identical messages. Each letter claimed responsibility for the two attacks, and each included a piece of a cipher, a coded message the killer claimed would reveal his identity. The letters were signed with a cross-circle symbol, a mark that would soon become synonymous with fear and death. The Zodiac killer had officially announced himself. The newspapers published the ciphers, hoping that the public could help decipher the message. Within days, a schoolteacher named Donald Hardin and his wife Betty cracked the code. The decoded message, however, was far from revealing. It was a rambling, disjointed confession filled with grammatical errors and a disturbing lack of remorse. It spoke of a desire to kill and collect slaves for the afterlife. The message offered no clues to the killer's identity, only a glimpse into his warped and twisted mind. The public was now thoroughly gripped by fear. The next attack occurred on September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking when they were approached by a man wearing a bizarre executioner-style hood. He bound them with rope and stabbed them repeatedly. Before leaving, he scrawled details of the attack, along with the cross-circle symbol and the dates of the previous attacks, onto Hartnell's car door. This act of brazen arrogance and cold-blooded cruelty further cemented Zodiac's image as a monster. The chilling message on the car door was a testament to his calculated cruelty and thirst for notoriety. 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, a taxi driver named Paul Stein was shot and killed in San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood. The Zodiac had moved into the heart of the city, escalating his reign of terror. This time, however, there were witnesses. 3 teenagers saw the man fleeing the scene. They described him as a white male, around 58 tall, with a stocky build and reddish-brown hair. A police dispatcher mistakenly broadcasted that the suspect was black. This error would have devastating consequences. 2 police officers, Don Falk and Eric Selms, encountered a man matching the general description of the suspect just minutes after the Stein murder. Because of the incorrect radio dispatch, they didn't realize he was the Zodiac and allowed him to pass. This near miss became a source of immense frustration and regret for the officers involved, a constant reminder of how close they had come to catching the killer. The moment haunted them, a chilling what-if that played endlessly in their minds. Following the Stein murder, the Zodiac continued to send letters and ciphers to the media. The letters became increasingly bizarre and rambling, filled with threats, boasts, and cryptic clues. He claimed responsibility for more murders than had been officially attributed to him, blurring the lines between fact and fantasy. He even threatened to bomb a school bus. The city was paralyzed by fear, gripped by the uncertainty of when and where he would strike next. The taunting continued, a constant psychological assault on the police and the public. In one particularly disturbing letter, the Zodiac included a piece of Paul Stein's blood-stained shirt. This tangible piece of evidence brought the horror of the murders directly into the offices of the newspapers. A macabre trophy from a twisted killer, the gesture was chillingly personal, a deliberate act of provocation intended to further torment the police and the victim's family. It was a stark reminder of the brutal reality behind the Zodiac's cryptic words. Arthur Lee Allen, a pedantic schoolteacher with a volatile temper and a history of disturbing behavior, became a prime suspect in the Zodiac case. He owned a Zodiac brand watch, and a former acquaintance claimed that Allen had once spoken about wanting to hunt humans. Allen was questioned multiple times by police, and his home was searched. While circumstantial evidence pointed towards Allen, no definitive proof could ever be found to link him directly to the murders. Allen became the subject of intense scrutiny, his life forever overshadowed by the suspicion that he was the Zodiac. Despite the intense investigation, the Zodiac case eventually went cold. The letters stopped, the murders ceased, and the killer vanished into the shadows. The fear remained, but it slowly faded with time. The Zodiac became a legend, a boogeyman lurking in the back of people's minds. He was a symbol of the dark side of humanity, a reminder that evil can exist in the most ordinary of places. The unanswered questions continued to haunt investigators, amateur sleuths, and the families of the victims. Years later, the Zodiac case continues to fascinate and frustrate. New theories emerge, old leads are re-examined, and the hunt for the killer persists. Despite advances in forensic technology, Zodiac's identity remains a mystery. The case stands as a testament to the limitations of law enforcement and the enduring power of evil. It's a cold case that refuses to be forgotten, a constant reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of society. Arthur Lee Allen died in 1992, still maintaining his innocence. Many still believe he was the Zodiac, but without conclusive evidence, the truth remains elusive. The Zodiac ciphers continue to be analyzed, each new attempt to crack them fueling the hope that one day, the killer's identity will finally be revealed. The mystery endures, a puzzle that has captivated generations. The hope of finding the answer, of finally bringing closure to the victims and their families, keeps the investigation alive. The Zodiac killer's legacy is one of fear, paranoia, and unanswered questions. He remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human psyche. His taunting letters, cryptic ciphers, and brutal murders continue to fascinate and terrify us. He is a ghost from the past, forever haunting the San Francisco Bay Area. The chilling irony is that a killer who craved fame and notoriety has achieved it. Though his identity remains shrouded in mystery, he succeeded in terrorizing a community, leaving a wound that may never fully heal. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the Zodiac case is that it reminds us that evil can exist anywhere, in anyone. The killer could have been a neighbor, a coworker, or even a family member. This unsettling realization continues to fuel the fascination with the case. The Zodiac case is a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of fear. The investigation may never be officially closed, but the story of the Zodiac killer will continue to be told, a cautionary tale for generations to come.